Yeah.
So it's
I don't
like
not working. I
don't like not working. I've not worked before, and it's felt absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I don't like whenever people have to take vacation. I'm like, oh God, I don't know.
I don't know about that, man. I like taking my vacation.
We went to New York last year.
Oh yeah.
And we were we were there for like 2 weeks or whatever, and a lot of the time I was working.
Yeah.
Like I was like filming stuff. I was like taking, you know what I mean? Like just being like present doesn't always bode well for me. I'm like, man, I gotta just keep.
No, but
moving.
you're also very like. You can't sit still. Like you're one of you're that person. I'm not. I will gladly lay in my bed and be a sloth for a whole week if they let me. Like if they're gonna pay me to be at home all day, I will take my vacations all the time.
What were you gonna say right now? You started saying something.
I was gonna say earlier when we were just talking about goals and everything.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever realized in the moment, like when I'm achieving a goal, that I'm achieving it, because most of the time, like I'll realize that I achieved a goal afterwards. Then I'll look back on it and say like, wow, that was once my goal. But oftentimes when I'm achieving that goal, I've already
set another one,
set a new one. Yeah. So like I'm not even thinking about this was my goal before. It's like I've already moved on. Like my mentality is thinking about something else. And then when I'm just thinking about the past and being nostalgic and thinking about stuff, I'll look and realize like, wow. I really did achieve that. Like I wanted that for a long time and I achieved it, but I was never able to like stop and look at it and appreciate it in the moment because of the fact that I already
a lot of people have that. I try really hard to slow down a little bit and say to myself like, just sit back a little, just breathe and like look at where you are and compare that to where you were.
Yeah.
I try to do that as best as I can. I feel like I do a pretty good job of that.
I'm really bad at immediately like thinking to myself, at least with like my performance stuff, just as soon as I start to do better, just being like, I want more.
Yeah.
Like I have a new thought.
But that's not bad.
It's not bad.
To me, that's not bad.
It becomes scary when I think about it, and then I think about my goals for the future. That again, like when you're glamorizing it and looking at it and whatnot, and then thinking about it and realizing that like I might not even realize in the moment when I'm there that
like you don't take
right,
in
but
the
so
time
long as you realize it
eventually
at any time I feel like that's still good.
Yeah, it's still nice to look back on the stuff and like realize like,
but like,
wow, you really did that.
Yeah, like nobody said you have to appreciate it when it happens. You just have to appreciate it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's also I dislike the fact of like. Also, as I look back on that moment and realize that like in that moment I was accomplishing the goal that I set for myself in the past, I also have that moment kind of it's tainted a little bit by me still not being happy with where I am because
that's
I
where
have
I was
set
about
a new
to say.
goal.
That's a different thing.
That's where I was about to say.
That's a completely different thing. If you achieve your goals but you still feel defeated because you're not somewhere where you want to be, that's a completely different thing. But having ambition is not bad. Like telling yourself, because that happens to me all the time. Like I get somewhere and I'm like, even if I realize like, oh, this is where I want it to be a year from now, of course I'm thinking about where I want to be next. Like it's not like I stopped there, right? Of course I'm like, but now I need to do this. Now I need to do this. Oh man, like there's more work, or I have to do this much more work now. I have to do. Of course that's on my mind. That's not intimidating all that much. But that is ambition. If you didn't have ambition, that wouldn't happen. You would have settled for whenever you were succeeded, and you would have sat there and been like, okay, now I don't know what to do, right? So ambition in and of itself is not bad, but to feel defeated by ambition, now that's a completely different conversation. You know what I mean? Because if you feel more defeated by you having goals rather than feeling challenged by having goals and being excited about those challenges, now we're having a very different kind of conversation. And that can vary person to person. And I've been in that too, where I'm like, man, I feel so withered and weathered and low, and I felt so diminished and self and defeated and like sliced open, like all these bad things. Like I felt so down that like the idea of challenging and getting to the next place was more what's the word I'm looking for? Exhausting. Was more exhausting than like where I was right? Almost as if I got there and I'm like, God, it took me so long to get here, and now it's gonna take me that much longer to get over there.
I feel that
whenever you're weathered, and you know, I've been there also, but I've had to force myself constantly to make sure that I remember to remind myself life is oftentimes about perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to teach, and it is a skill. It is not a natural ability. You can work on this.
Yeah.
How to view the thing that you're looking at, or the perspective in which you are looking at yourself through, and just move to the other side of the room and look at it from a different point of view.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to, that is a thing you have to practice. That is not, some people have it more naturally. Like some people, people have told this about me, like you naturally have that. You become naturally excited about the next thing. Mm-hmm. So you get this new boundless energy that you want to go towards that.
To develop that kind of practice.
But I've also had to remember in times where I've been more depressed, in times where I've had like really low moments, and I feel defeated, and I feel like, man, I don't feel like myself. I feel like I'm like stagnant. I've had to tell myself in real time, try to look at this from a different point of view. It's fucking hard, but it is something that you can practice. Optimism is a choice.
It absolutely is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not.
It doesn't just come. And like you.
Let me go ahead and make an addendum to that. Obviously, if somebody hears optimism is a choice, people are going to come for me because they're like, well, people that have depression, you can't stop that chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you. Anybody that has a medical condition, you obviously can't help your medical condition.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you can, you're probably doing what you are supposed to do to make that better. Do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Right? Talk to your physician, talk to your doctor, do whatever you have to do. Nutrition wise and health wise, and you know what I mean, the cards you've been dealt, you know, it sucks, but you know, do what you have to do in that sense, right? Sometimes somebody with bipolar disorder or depression or clinical depression or things like that, maybe optimism isn't a choice for them.
Yeah. Or it's a harder choice.
Right. But if you're not struggling with that kind of thing, and you look at the world through that kind of mentality, you can really open a lot of doors for you.
It can.
Yeah, I think that that advice of kind of trying to look at something from a different perspective is actually very helpful. Because I was given the advice of finding those times that you feel anxious and anxiety, and normally you want to like retreat from whatever it is that you're doing that's like causing that anxiety, like that's your natural reaction. Feel that like whatever it is that's happening in your body, if it's like your heart is beating fast, if you're getting sweaty, things like that, and try to feel that and immediately try to force your brain to start thinking of it as adrenaline instead of anxiety. Think of adrenaline,
that's a good perspective
switch, and legit try to like rewire your brain to think of it. And again, it all depends on if it's a thing that like your brain just naturally like, or if you have like a medical condition that you cannot help that, but it can be helpful because there are multiple different types of anxiety, and like if it's social anxiety that, you know, sometimes you do get like excited being out and about. Like for me, for example, I love being around people. I do. I definitely think I'm an extrovert, but I also have social anxiety. So being in social positions, like sometimes I feel super energetic from it, and other times I feel super anxious.
Yeah.
And so I was told, like, try to take that down by it, and get your brain to work to be more.
It's so funny. I'm gonna